All right, Marty Marr sends this one in. A wise philosopher once said, one of the keys to happiness is to have something to look forward to. I could not agree with that anymore. That particular, this is not part of the agreement. I'm a 10. That's a 10. When I have stuff to look forward to, as I, kind of do all summer long, I'm recording the show before I go and see my brother and a couple friends, go to Disneyland, play some golf in Southern California. Yeah, I'm with you there. What's your Spencer scale of agreement on this take? Next year, Oregon will have the best receiver room in the country. Peruse who we'll have next year along with our experience at that position. What say you, go Ducks? Best in the country, man. Jeremiah Smith next year will still be at Ohio State. They might have, or they will have, 5-star Chris Henry Jr. coming in. I don't know if Carnell Tate will still be around, but he's really good. The best in the country. They'll have a better room next year than they will this season because so many guys will gain valuable experience. And though I am not glad that Evan Stewart got injured, I think it makes things more challenging for this room. It will allow for guys to get reps in big games they wouldn't otherwise have gotten. And so I think about a guy like Jurion Dickey or Kyler Casper or Jeremiah McClellan, Justice Lowe maybe. Those guys are going to see more targets at the very least than they would have if you'd had Evan Stewart in the room this year. And this applies to DeCorian more as well. The best in the country. Yes, I host Locked On College Football. No, I do not have a 2026 outlook of most teams' receiving cores memorized in my memory bank here, or as Zola would put it, in my data banks. If you get that reference, let me know, because it means we'd be really, really good friends, or at least we'd get along. So the best next year, I think your depth is going to be good. You don't know who's going to transfer out. You don't know who could get hurt. Gatlin Bears coming in as a 5-star. I think Oregon could have a top 5, minimum top 10, like bare minimum top 10 receiver room. I think top 5 is on the table. You're going to have second year DeCorian Moore. You could have second year playing at full health Jurion Dickey if he has a sizable role this year. You match that with a potential Evan Stewart return. I don't think your question would actually hinge on that because guys are going to get so much experience this year and then all gas up the hype train in the offseason going into next year. So best receiver room in the country next year. 4. I'm going 4. This may be breaking news. Oregon is not the only place that has a lot of talented wide receivers in there. If you said top 5, I'm going to be at about an 8.5. But number 1, the best in all of college football, LSU recruits dudes every year. Ohio State recruits dudes every year. Those would probably be, off the top of my head, your biggest competitors for that particular title of the best wide receiver room in all of college football. But yeah, Oregon's going to have a chance. Junior Adams has recruited this. You have Messiah Hampton as a true freshman. Dylan Gresham was, a big standout of the spring game, of course. The options will be plentiful. It's just a matter of, who fills the void. You won't have Malik Benson because this is his final year of eligibility. You won't have Gary Bryant Jr. This is his last year of eligibility. I think Justice Lowe would be back. So you're probably looking at a top line of receivers that starts with DeCorian. Let's presume that my gut is correct and Evan Stewart has played his last game as a Duck. Just a presumption. Not what I'd like to have happen, just a guess. Let's say he's not there. Your receiver room next year is probably looking like DeCorian Moore as your number 1 receiver. Probably Jeremiah McClellan as a number 2 with Jurion Dickey. Maybe Kyler Casper still around. But then you work Gatlin Bear into the fold and consider that that Dylan Gresham could be like number 4 or 5 receiver with what he showcased back in April. I'd say that can be as talented of a receiver room as Oregon's ever had. And I think DeCorian could just be a big-time go-to guy. I'm so stoked to watch him play football in a real setting this year. So that's going to be – I just got like goosebumps thinking about that. We're just over 2 months away from watching DeCorian Moore play an actual college football game, and the hype train on this podcast, when he catches a long touchdown or does something crazy, it is going to be outrageous. I might just sit here and talk about him for 30 minutes. I could. I'm the executive producer of the show, so you'd all be at the mercy of my desires there. So, wrapping up with this, Nick sends this in. Okay, Spencer, I have 2 hot takes. Number 1, Oregon will have no 1,000-yard receivers. They will have 4 500-yard receivers. Here's the biggest part. Gary Bryant will have a breakout year and lead all receivers with 800-plus yards. Take number 2 and the hottest take. I believe Kenyon will lead the team in touchdowns. I don't believe that is a common thing. I see Bryant as a sleeper on the offense. Thanks. This is some good stuff. There is good stuff in there. So I assume by putting receivers in quotation marks, you're including all pass catchers. So Gary Bryant to be Oregon's leading receiver this year, without Evan Stewart in the fold, he's the most experienced guy. This is his 6th year of college football. He was a borderline 5-star recruit coming out of high school, 3rd year with the Ducks, knows the offensive system really well. The more I think about it, him or Justice Lowe, he and Lowe are the 2 guys that I pointed to when the Evan Stewart injury news came down and said these are the players most likely because of their experience and talent to take the catches that Evan Stewart had last year and was going to have this year. So Gary Bryant will have a breakout year, lead all receivers with 800-plus yards. 6. I'm giving that. I'm giving that 6. I don't think that's crazy at all. Oregon having no 1,000-yard receivers. 9. I'm at a 9. I'm not going for a 10 because maybe DeCorian goes bonkers and sets the Oregon freshman single season receiving record, or maybe Gary Bryant Jr. has a big year. But without Evan Stewart in there, who I would have predicted to probably have a 1,000-yard season had he stayed healthy, I think the receptions, the targets, the yards, touchdowns, all of it, I don't think it all gets funneled to one guy. I think it gets really spread out. And there's so much depth in this room. I think opposing secondaries are going to have a tough time figuring out who do we want. Like I was talking about with Seiko on yesterday's show, in their best corner, A.J. Harris. Who's he going to cover? I mean, if you come out, in, let's say, 11 personnel, and you got Mekhi Hughes a running back, Kenyon Sadiq at tight end, DeCorian Moore's in the slot, Gary Bryant Jr. is a receiver, and Malik Benson's on the outside. Where are you putting your NFL caliber corner for Penn State? If you want to take away one of those guys, like he, did Stewart in the Big Ten championship game, okay. You saw how that went last year. Tez Johnson, 11 for 186 and 2 touchdowns. Pretty good. Pretty good. So no 1,000-yard receivers. Yeah, I'm at a 9 with that one. They will have 4 500-plus yard receivers. 4. I think Sadiq could get there. I think DeCorian gets there. I think Bryant could get. That's not insane. That's not. No, I'll go with 7. I'll go with 7 on that one. So that was an awesome collection of takes for me to evaluate. And Gary Bryant being, I know I decided to break them up, even though you didn't necessarily want me to. But again, my show, that's just kind of how it rolls. So Bryant is the sleeper on the offense. 100% agree. That's a 10. That's Gary Bryant is the biggest sleeper in the Oregon receiver room. That is a 10. Okay. No, it's not a 10. It's not a 10. That again is a 9. That's a 9. I said it and it just felt not quite, but close. But very, very close. So keep the takes coming. This has become my favorite segment to do here on the show. You send in a take, I give you the agreement here on the show and explain why. So that's where we end the show this week. Appreciate everyone listening. I'll see you next time. Have a wonderful rest of your day. And as always, go Ducks.